So we got an official review of the next brand new Sonic game, which was really just like 5 seconds of whatever this is supposed to be, but with rumors abound of it being an open world game. Would an open world Sonic game actually work? Let's discuss right now. Hello there, beautiful human. My name is RidersDX. Welcome to my channel, where today I'm just feeling boogie oogie-licious because it's Sunday, I guess. I guess that's a good reason. Alright, scratch whatever I was just saying. We're just gonna head straight into the video. But today, we're gonna talk about the highly anticipated next Sonic game coming out in 2022. Yes, no actual brand new Sonic game this year, but to be honest, it's not that surprising, all things considered. But during the recent Sonic Central livestream, we got a teaser for a brand new Sonic game, and we got this little short clip of Sonic running through a forest with some like weird effects around him and such. And so definitely is intriguing. I'm very interested in seeing what this is all about. But you know what? We might actually already know what it's about. Turns out the name Sonic Rangers was found in a leaked code from the 4K video. To be honest, it sounded like a Wild West themed Sonic game when I first heard it. Could be a third installment in the storybook series, am I right? Isn't that such an awesome idea? Seriously though, I would love to see that series come back one day. Anyway, there was actually a leak back from January that details a game called Sonic Rangers, and it was on 4chan, I think. There are some specific details in that post, but to summarize it, basically they detailed it as an open world game with Generations-esque levels mixed in, which is a really interesting concept because a lot of people have talked about the possibility of an open world Sonic game, myself included. It just seems like a natural direction for Sonic to go in after trying out so many different ideas in 3D platforming. But there's always been a lot of debate about whether an open world Sonic game would work. When I brought up this question to Dave, he was all, no, 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 no. And that's exactly how he sounded as well. But to be honest, I was sort of feeling the same way for a while. I just can't see how an open world Sonic game would even function. But of course, with these leaks, it made me think a little bit more about the idea and whether or not it could truly work. And I actually have some different opinions now, so let's kind of go through them. In terms of how Rangers could potentially turn out in the way that was described through that leak, it's a system I could see working. It sort of reminds me of how the first adventure game was set up with Sonic's story, where you did have these like open world areas to go through. They were really tiny, but they were still like hub worlds, and you were able to enter levels with it as well. And so if it's anything like that, then I could see that being a structure that works for an open world Sonic game. So basically, I'm thinking that if this is an open world Sonic game, then we would kind of see a similar system. It's just that there would be so much more open world to the game rather than just going as quickly as possible to the next levels. Yeah, I gotta say, I kind of like the idea of there being a large open world but with Generations-esque levels taking place at the shrines that you saw in Breath of the Wild, which is obviously the game that everyone is referring to whenever we saw this idea come up for the first time. It's like, well, Breath of the Wild did the open world thing like really well. Could Sonic really live up to that potential? Probably not, but I guess anything is possible. But the main issue that I'd have with an open world game when it comes to Sonic is really just making sure there's not only enough things to do, but that there are also fun things to do as well. There are a bunch of examples of fan games that actually kind of play with the open world concept. Like some of the ones I can think of is like Sonic Utopia, Sonic Islands, the Project Hero mechanics, engine, whatever you like to call that thing. You know, these games kind of show that there's a lot of fun that could be had in having Sonic in an open playground and being able to travel anywhere that he wants to go. It's kind of interesting idea to tackle on, and I've always been interested in seeing Sonic Team and Sega actually tackle something to that extent. You know, you could even see it in like the beta version of Windy Valley from the original adventure, where there was a bunch of different places you could go and it wasn't completely linear. I kind of like the idea, and I kind of like the idea of seeing that for Sonic levels in the future. Now, the issue that I have with potentially an open world game completely is the fact that in these games at least, there really wasn't much else to do besides getting to the next point. Granted, these were just fan projects that were really small, and so I did not and should not have expected that from any of the games, but I have a hard time imagining Sega and Sonic Team being able to fill up this world with worthwhile things to do. Breath of the Wild is a game where stopping to smell the roses is highly encouraged and just feels really natural to that gameplay style. Going into villages, speaking to the townsfolk, buying supplies, taking side quests. You could do all this with a Sonic open world game too, but since its very nature is to go fast, it may not be as appealing of a concept, at least to make a whole game out of. I mean, remember going through the hub worlds in Adventure and also going through the hub worlds in Sonic 06? Like, you probably didn't stop to talk to all the townsfolk. Like, at least you probably weren't encouraged to do that. But with a Sonic open world game, that kind of would be the name of the game, is to like go around, explore, and like take side quests and such, and find hidden areas and secrets. And so you would kind of have to be encouraged to do that stuff now, and I just find it hard to feel like a Sonic game could actually successfully pull that off just because of the very nature of who Sonic is as a video game character. I think ultimately, if we do indeed get an open world Sonic game, in order to like have any chance of enjoying the game, you need to draw out the idea of what Sonic has traditionally been, which is a point A to B platformer. I mean, of course, that's what Sonic has been since the very beginning of his inception. You know, it's always been all about getting to the end as quickly as possible, maneuvering all the obstacles and barriers and enemies, and finding the fastest ways to get to the end. An open world Sonic game just simply cannot gel with that, at least not completely. I mean, like I said, the idea of having like these generations like levels kind of like filled in between all the different areas sounds like a good idea, but actually the open world aspect itself cannot be a point A to B platformer. Like, it just conflicts with the idea too much. And so if this truly is happening, you really cannot look at this game through a traditional sense that we typically see Sonic games in. I think if they kept the open world to a moderate size and filled it with tons to do, I think it could be a fun little playground that way. I feel like filling the game with vast amounts of open space is not the way to go, just because, you know, if there's so much open space, like, what's the point of going through all that just to find these like little tiny secrets here and there? I mean, if you could make a very big open space but give us tons of things to do and fun ways to find collectibles and such, I think that'd be fine, but I think keeping it smaller and just filling it with tons of things to do would be a good idea. One of my favorite examples of a good open world game that does this is Spider-Man PS4. New York City is not the biggest open world of all open world games, but it is shit filled with tons of things to do. It's also just big enough to be fun to traverse through as Spider-Man. I mean, there's just so much joy in being able to web sling throughout all the skies, across all the buildings and such. It really is exhilarating. I think if Sonic Adventure had actually allowed you to get on top of buildings and travel throughout the hub world that way, that could have made the adventure fields a fun little playground to go through. In fact, you could get a little of this with the Mystic Ruins when you're trying to travel up these mountains or run across the jungle. You know, there's a lot of potential in being able to have Sonic go beyond just the ground level and able to actually travel wherever he wants to go. So I could see it working. I could see the potential in this idea. It's just that it's gonna be completely new basically. They really don't have anything to go off on, and so they basically have to spend a lot of time in the conceptual stage and actually think about ways that this could be fun and not just do open world just for the sake of doing open world. Like, judging from what that guy said about his thoughts with playing the game back in January in that leak, it didn't sound like there was a lot to do, a lot of fun things to do in the open world. And so that probably was a really early version of the game. As we all know, it's not coming out till next year, but hopefully if they are going in this direction and Sonic Rangers truly is coming, then they actually are very careful to make sure that the open world is not just like a vast valley of space, but it's also a world that's fun to go through. Like, it's actually fun and worthwhile to travel through, and, you know, just be Sonic the Hedgehog, I guess, throughout a really vast valley of forests and cities and whatever else they decide to throw in there. So overall, I am more open-minded to the idea now as I've thought about it, because I think that the structure that we've heard about in terms of having an open world area but also having these like more traditional levels sprinkled into it sounds like a really good idea and could be really effective in the way that Adventure was. I just don't know about Sonic Team developing this game, because, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Sonic Team has any experience in developing an open world game. And I guess like whenever they've tried something completely different in the past, it's always been like a crapshoot. Like sometimes they actually do pretty well with brand new ideas, like the Werehog, for instance. I felt like that was a good take on the beat 'em up genre, but there's also other times where Sonic Team completely fails at doing this. And so I'm a little nervous that they're the ones developing this, you know, unless the team has been completely rebooted and has all these great designers on it that have these extensive resumes. I'm gonna be a little bit cautious about it just because, you know, it sounds like a completely new idea and I just don't know. I don't trust Sonic Team to get this right. So if it does turn out to be a hot mess, I guess we'll see how 2022 goes in general. At least the show and movie will probably do well because, like, I mean, the movie's probably going to do well just because the first one was a success, so I feel like the second one will be a success even if it is a mediocre movie. And the TV show sounds pretty promising too with the people that are behind it, so I don't know. It's not going to be a complete train wreck, but I really do genuinely hope that Rangers, or whatever this game is going to be called, really does just pull all the stops and just be like a great Sonic game. We just need a solid Sonic game. Like, that's all I need. Like, you don't need to make it this big ambitious thing. I just want a solid Sonic game, you know? Go back to the days where you were like actually shelling out decent titles like Colors and Generations and all the 2D titles. Like, just make good games. That's all we really want. But okay, I think I rambled on long enough, so let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about the idea of an open world Sonic game? Are you excited for it? Are you nervous about it? Let me know why or why not. Is there another kind of game you kind of hope the next Sonic game would be? Let me know what that idea is, and yeah, let's just have a fun little discussion about, you know, the hopeful, I guess, future for Sonic the Hedgehog. But alright y'all, thank you so much. This is Riders, riding out. Thank you so much for watching this video. Special shout out to my patrons: Amelia Prescott, Kill Lemurs, Team Rattle Sign Gamer, Johnny Hinton Ortiz, Timebender, Trash Q, Claw84, and Mass Muner. These are my patrons / YouTube members. If you'd like to become a patron or YouTube member, get access to a whole bunch of different perks, and please check out the links in the description box below. But alright, this is Riders, riding out.